On today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, Netflix just got a little bit more expensive, well, significantly more expensive if you were part of their basic plan. Oppenheimer and Barbie, the weekend is here. Both these films are opening up this weekend, and the reviews for both of them are great. We're going to talk about that. Also, you might have heard that there's a strike going on. So why can Anne Hathaway's new movie, why can Matthew McConaughey's new movie, why are these movies still able to shoot during a strike? We'll cover that. Also, if you were a fan of House of the Dragon, like most of us were, and when they announced the Emmys last week, there was one name really missing, Paddy Considine. Was he snubbed, or did he even deserve a nomination? We're going to discuss all that and a whole bunch more. The John Campea Show podcast starts right now. Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming to you from right here in our quaint little studio, brought to you in part by our friends at Mint Mobile. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV, streaming, all sorts of good stuff, not just giving you our opinions, but giving you some information and context so you guys can form your own well-informed opinions, whether they're the same or completely different from ours. I'm joined in studio today over there with the ever-enthusiastic Ray Ora.
No.
Right beside him is Jonathan Voico. And writer, director, producer can currently be seen on CW's Greatest Geek Year Ever, 1982, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
You know, it's strange. I feel haunted, like I've been here before.
It never happened, man. I keep telling you that.
Every
it's
week,
in your head.
same
The
thing.
lighting in here is so beautiful.
And, of course, most importantly, you guys are here. Thanks for joining us here, guys. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by covering those topics we just listed off. And then in the last part of the show, we're going to take questions and topics from our YouTube channel members. If you're listening to our podcast, we have a YouTube channel. Every day we put up a couple of short videos, but we also have a great group of supporters known as our channel members. And every day we ask them to send in some topics and questions for us to discuss, and we'll get to those just a little bit later. All right. With that all done, guys, let's get started with this. You know, it's fair to say, still the king of the streaming world, despite the fact that Amazon does have more users. Netflix. I mean, when you think about sitting at home and watching streaming, Netflix is the image that comes to your mind. And Netflix has 4 different streaming options. Oh, wait. No, they don't. They used to. Now it's been reduced. Quite a bit, because now you only have 3 streaming options. You see, Jonathan, if you got that graphic,
Yeah.
You know, the way it used to be like this up until the other day. If you wanted to get a basic plan and watch Netflix in 720 and have commercials, you can get for $7 a month. Now, if you want what a lot of people call real Netflix, but also, you know, no ads, you know, pure, an unad interrupted experience, still in 720, but you had that $10 a month option. Then, of course, you had the $16 or $15.50 a month option at 1080p. Then you got the premium $20 a month where you can get some 4K. I think vast majority of people got the standard, but I knew a lot of people had the basic plan. Well, a little while ago, some people noticed, hey, in Canada, you can't sign up for this basic plan anymore. And they're not wrong. They took it away, and now it has been made official. The Verge is reporting that Netflix just killed its basic ad-free plan in the US and the UK. So that chart that Jonathan had up there, now 4 has come down to 3. Now you can get the 720p, but now they've upped it to 1080. The basic ad plan at $6.99, but if you want a commercial-free experience, you no longer have the $10 a month plan. You got to now go up to $15.50. And that is a bit of a jump. You know, Peacock just raised their prices. I don't know if you saw this, Rob. Peacock just raised their prices this week by $1. But if you are a basic ad-free member of Netflix, or if you wanted to join Netflix and get that basic ad-free, you're going to be paying $5.50 more a month now, because now you're going to have to get the standard plan. Now, the one silver lining to this is that they are going to grandfather the basic plan. So if you are already a Netflix member and you are already on that $10 a month basic plan, you're going to be able to continue to use it. You will not be able to sign up as a new Netflix subscriber and get it. You will not be able to downgrade from premium or standard to the basic plan. You can't make any changes to it, but if you currently have that, you can continue to have ad-free Netflix for $10 a month at $7. Rob, when you look at this move, what do you think the thought process behind this is for Netflix? Like, they had several different options. What do you think is their benefit of removing one of those options from their users? How do you see this?
Well, I think if people say that they want to step down, if you get rid of this basic plan, you want to step down to the ad-free tier or the ad tier, they're getting revenue from the ads.
Yes.
So, which is going to offset whatever people that decide to downgrade is going to have. Or, I mean, they're going to get people to upgrade. So I think either way, getting rid of this one tier makes sense for Netflix in terms of its profitability. I mean, because if you think, if they only make $1 extra per subscriber at that rate, that's millions and millions of dollars every month. And if they have people at the basic level go down, then they can charge more money for ads because there's more people at that ad tier.
You know what I think their strategy here is? So, of course, this all goes hand in hand, I think, with the recent crackdown on password sharing.
That too.
Because whereas everybody cried and complained about it, guess what? It's worked. They have gotten more new subscribers as a result of the crackdown on password sharing. And a good chunk of them have been going to the ad plan, to the basic ad plan with commercials, right? Here's what I think their strategy is. I think they're seeing, hey, because of our password crackdown, a lot more people are signing up. And a bunch of those people who are signing up to the commercial plan. Well, when they get tired of commercials, they're going to want to upgrade. Let's take away that $10 a month option. Say, you want to upgrade? Great. Here's our $15.50 plan. And again, it's nothing sneaky about it, nothing underhanded about it. I just think that's what they say. We got people in with the ad crackdown and this cheaper ad free. They're going to realize, or with ads, they're going to realize, I don't want to watch commercials. Great. Well, here's your $15. Add 10 more bucks a month. I don't know. What do you think?
It's a genius strategy because it's a win-win not either way. You get people to drop down to the ad tier and it ups their ad revenue because more people are there. But then the people that get tired of that and jump up to their more expensive tier, that's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, because you talk about if they just made $1 extra, they'd be making almost $6 extra a month on each of those users.
Yeah, and if you had 10 million people, 20 million people, that's a lot of money on a monthly basis.
And then they also have the argument of we're actually giving you an upgrade to the basic because now instead of who wants 720 unless you're watching on your phone,
right? You're
getting 1080 for the price of the 720p.
I'm curious. Have you noticed? We talk about Peacock went up $1. Have you noticed any price difference in the Netflix John Campea plan?
No. My plan is perfect. He's
grandfathered in.
He's grandfathered in.
Yeah.
John
He's brothered in.
You guys remember Singular Wireless?
I remember them.
Okay.
Well, it was AT&T now.
I had their unlimited data for $20 a month plan, and they were doing some new plans that were more expensive. I remember I held on to that baby till its last breath, to the point where every time I got my phone looked at, they'd be like, look at my plan, and then a manager would come out and try to get me to upgrade.
To upsell you.
Every time we went to Fry's, and they brought a manager all the way from the back. At like 10 minutes, I was waiting. I was like, what's going on? Just to try to talk me out of my plan. I think
he had to leave Buffalo Wild Wings to come and talk to you.
I was the last person.
By the way, pour one out for our friends at Fry's.
Yeah.
I do miss Fry's.
I do too.
But I mean, no, it's true. By the way, but with Mint Mobile, you can practically get that same plan at Mint Mobile at their everyday low price.
Wow.
How's that
That
for a
was
plug?
no setup right there, buddy.
That for a sponsor plug. Ryan Reynolds is writing me a check as we speak. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Are you already on that basic plan that is now no longer available for people to sign up for? Are you going to stay on it? You're going to maybe try going a little bit cheaper at the commercials? Maybe you'll try upgrading standard? Let us know what you think about this. All right. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? This is one of the more exciting weekends in movies we've had probably all year. 2 high-profile, highly anticipated movies with Barbie and Oppenheimer coming out. Now, we've already seen they both got really good box office projections. You know, Oppenheimer's projected somewhere to make anywhere between $45 and $55 million. For a Christopher Nolan film, that's right on par. That's right where it's going to be. Barbie, I mean, I'll be honest with you. 6 months ago, I might have told you Barbie would be lucky to get 50 million opening weekend, maybe. But now they're projecting anywhere from 85 to 105. Some people are projecting as high as 120. I don't see that happening, but who knows? It's going to be a huge thing. Well, the reviews have now dropped. Now, we had the first reactions for both these films a while ago. They were both great, the reactions. But, you know, when you can only put out a short, quick little quote reaction, people tend to lean a little bit more positive. What happens when the actual full reviews come out? Well, the full reviews for both Barbie and Oppenheimer are out, and they're both in the 90s. Barbie is sitting at 90 on the nose, the last we checked. At 139 reviews, I think it was sitting at 90% on the nose. Oppenheimer, that at the last time I checked a little bit earlier today, was at 63 reviews at 97%. And what's being said about both is great. The interesting one to me, the most interesting one to me, was a number of the critics were saying about Barbie, that is a bunch of them saying fun, it's funny, it's kind of wild, but also said things like it's very, it's dark in places. It's surreal. It's got, like they said, what was the filmmaker they compared it to?
Kubrick.
Yeah, they compared it to like a Kubrick kind of sort of thing. And who's the guy who did Twin Peaks?
David Lynch.
Yeah, a little bit of Lynch in there with it too. I'm like, really? That sounds fascinating. And as far as Oppenheimer goes, a number of them saying it could be Christopher Nolan's best film.
Oppenheimer dropped.
Oh, it dropped.
But there was 40 more reviews because earlier.
So it's at 100
it was
reviews now?
Yeah,
100 reviews. It's at 94%. Barbie just got a certified fresh because it's at 144 reviews. It's still at 89%.
Oh, so it's gone down 1% since the last time we checked. Okay, so there you go. Barbie at 89, but with a lot more reviews. And Oppenheimer, again, this is changing by the minute as more reviews get added, but at 94%.
Still overwhelmingly positive.
Still overwhelmingly positive. And Rob, I don't know if you saw it. We brought it up a little bit earlier. Did you see that Barbie Airbnb you can get in Malibu?
Yes.
Oh my, like I don't give a shit about Barbie. I want to go stay in that house.
Well, it's funny because I've been seeing like aerial photographs of this house.
Yeah.
And nobody knew what it was. You know, like
It's bright.
What a brilliant marketing tie-in though. I mean, I'm wondering, can like hundreds of people stay there at the same time so you can recreate those beach scenes?
I was telling John, there's going to be weddings there. There's going to be parties there. There's going to be Hollywood parties with cocaine and everything.
Plastic, not real.
Yes.
Cocaine.
Here, just so people know, for those watching a video version of this, go ahead and bring this up. So, like, there
That
it
doesn't
is.
scream cocaine. I don't know what that
Yeah, that screams something.
Look, but I mean, more than anything, check this out too. Forget the look at the bedroom, but the theme,
No orgies.
the Barbie disco theme. But forget that it's a Barbie theme. An outdoor party dance floor overlooking the ocean.
Come on.
Dude, Comic-Con's going on now. If that was at Comic-Con,
Dude, if
can
that was
you
in San
imagine
Diego-
how packed it would be?
Oh, it would be booked for 10,000 a night. 10,000 a night.
Dude,
easy.
I want to go party in this house.
So do I. Ray was pointing out that it's like booked solid for
They
months.
said the booking is already closed.
Yeah.
It's
But-
already booked for the whole month, the next month too.
Anyway, Rob, I know you've been looking forward to both those films. We were both at CinemaCon and they did presentations for both. The presentations for both of them were very impressive.
Yeah.
What's your anticipation level like for these movies now going? Because you're seeing both in the next couple of days. And which one are you looking forward to more?
Well, honestly, to me, obviously Oppenheimer, I'm looking forward to more only because it's a pretty serious subject matter. And, you know, Christopher Nolan, his approach excites me and as a filmmaker. So that is my obvious answer. However, the idea of making a Barbie movie, John, at all is quite frankly insane to me. But to have Greta Gerwig is becoming a very interesting filmmaker in her own right.
Yeah.
She's covered a number of diverse subject matter. She's showing herself to get better and better with each film. I'm expecting a lot from this movie. That I'm expecting as far as something that's, you know, they could have made this if it was made with Amy Schumer, like it was going to be made years ago, it would have been a very different movie. I think this movie might have something to actually say to the world. I'm curious to see what that is. I don't know what that is without seeing it. But I have to say, everything I've seen from this, there was a trailer when I went and saw Mission Impossible again. They showed a trailer. It was a clip more than a trailer of Ryan Gosling singing the like "I'm Ken" song and what it means to be
I have
Ken.
not seen that.
Dude, I'm like, that's pretty profound. I'm like, okay. I saw this and I'm like, what does this mean? It's not something I expected. I want to be Ken now.
What do you think? I mean, we're seeing the projections. Do you think they're accurate? Like, do you think we could see Barbie like crack $100 million? Because we've only seen what, 2 or 3. I mean, Mario cracked 100 million. Ant-Man cracked 100 million. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse cracked 100 million. Are those the only 3 movies this year that cracked $100 million in their opening weekend?
I think so.
I think they are. So could Barbie actually join that club? Like, what are you feeling and sensing from the other film fans you're talking to online?
The one thing that has happened that surprised me, the Oppen Barbie or the Barbie Heimer, the memeability of this weekend has become something that any marketing department, because they're different studios, could never have come up with. And the fact that they've memed this whole thing. Yeah, there you go. And people are talking about going to see both. Like, it's now become a thing, kind of like what happened at GameStop or something. Maybe this could inflate. I've
been saying that. It's crazy, and it has been like with younger, even Gen Z and everything.
Totally.
That people are like, now it's like a hype thing. It's an event to go do.
Totally.
It's crazy.
And I think because of that, it would not surprise me in the least to see Barbie sail over $100 million.
You're talking about seeing people
if
go
it's
ahead.
good.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, but even then, opening weekend, even if it's not that good, people got to see it opening weekend first to figure that out. So I don't know what kind of legs it's going to have, but we covered a story here 2 weeks ago, I think it was, that AMC reported that over 20,000 A-list members had already booked tickets for Oppenheimer and Barbie on the same day. I double checked. Today, that's over 100,000. AMC
Wow.
A-list members have double booked Barbie and Oppenheimer to watch them both on the same day as a double feature.
I can't
remember last time something like that's happened.
That's crazy.
Because now people were like, oh, I was going to see them both, or I was going to see one, and now that everyone's like, they want to be part of that. Oh, I went and did the double feature. I did the thing.
But what a crazy 2
I know.
movies to double feature with. Like, it's nuts.
By the way, I got a shout out. Last week, I had a meeting and I didn't want to deal with traffic, so I went and saw Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning for a second time at the AMC.
I still got to see it again. I've only seen it the once so far.
Well, I went and saw it in Dolby, specifically at the
nice.
AMC Burbank 16 Dolby. Again, gotta hand it to AMC. That presentation was aces. I mean, I really, really love going to AMC and seeing a beautifully presented film. Sound was perfect. The image was bright. Great trailers. Hence that I'm Ken, whatever that singing song trailer was. But it was a great experience. So AMC, man, maybe they're going to lead the forefront of the, what is it? Is it Oppen Barbie? Barbieheimer?
Barbieheimer.
Barbieheimer. The Barbieheimer meme weekend.
As
I
long
want to
as,
take part in it.
As long as their CEO, Grand Admiral Fuckchuckles, doesn't run them into the ground. I mean, I've got a love-hate thing with AMC, but I got to say, A-List is the greatest thing for movie fans. And the AMC Dolby Prime Theater is still my favorite movie theater to watch a movie in. They
great.
do such a great presentation.
By the way, I hope that we get some kind of like known psychologist coming out and talking about what it's like for the human psyche to see Barbie and Oppenheimer on the same day. Like, what does that do to your mind?
like
That's
electric-
a roller coaster ride. Like,
It's like
that is an
electric
up and
shock
down roller.
therapy.
Yeah.
All right, guys, listen, with that down, we still got to talk about how are some of these movies still shooting right now with the strike going on. Also, how on earth did Paddy Considine not get an Emmy nomination? We're going to discuss those things, but before we do, we're going to take a quick second here and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode, my mobile service provider, and they should be yours, Mint Mobile. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much-needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking Looking for extra savings this year? Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode. All right, guys, let's get on with this. Look, we all know there's a writer strike going on. It's getting close to 3 months. 2.5 months. It's going on for a while. The actor strike just recently went on strike, so everything's been shut down. But not exactly everything. There are some things being shot right now, and that is the topic of today's Mint Mobile Hotline question of the day. Listen, if you guys have a question either for one of our YouTube videos or our podcast, go ahead and call it in anytime 24/7 at 951-268-4259. And today's question is about a couple of these movies that are still shooting during the actor strike. Check it out.
Hey, John and crew. It's Alex from Burbank. I just saw on IndieWire that a film with Anne Hathaway and another film with Matthew McConaughey got SAG-AFTRA waivers so they can continue production. I was wondering if you could explain how this works and whether something like Deadpool 3 could get something like this to continue shooting. Thanks. Have a great day.
All right, Alex, thanks a lot for calling that in. And yeah, the other day we talked about the fact that there's a faith-based TV show called The Chosen. And they've just been given the green light to shoot season 2, season 3, season 4. I don't know where they're at, but to shoot that and have that rolling. Well, now we're also hearing about some major films. And you're right. That's coming up from IndieWire. So over at IndieWire, they run the headline, Anne Hathaway, Matthew McConaughey their films land SAG-AFTRA waivers. So including a bunch of other projects. So it says that SAG-AFTRA has released a list of initial batch of independent film projects that have signed the Guild's interim agreement, which will allow those movies to continue filming or immediately start filming even as the actors strike against them. Among the titles to obtain waivers is Mother Mary, which is an A24, and Topic Studios project from David Lowery starring Anne Hathaway and Michaela Cole, and The Rivals of amzn.to, a crime thriller that stars Matthew McConaughey. Death of a Unicorn, another A24 starring Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega, also signed the interim deal. Here's the key. A24 is not an AMPTP member. All right? But there's a bunch of other things too. Some others of note: Flight Risks, directed by Mel Gibson, starring Mark Wahlberg; Dust Bunny with Mads Mikkelsen and Sigourney Weaver; the musical biopic The Yellow Tie with John Malkovich; An Anniversary with Diane Lane, and it goes on. There's a bunch. So here's the basic gist of it, is that, yeah, there's a strike going on. And of course, the Actors Guild are governed by SAG, the Screen Actors Guild. Now, SAG can issue a special waiver to a project. And if that waiver is given to a project, let's say like the Anne Hathaway film, that is telling their actors, you are allowed to go and work on that on that movie or that show, that project. Now, there's a couple of big things. Like it mentioned in here, A24 is not a member of the AMPTP. That is who the writers and the actors are striking against. Because members of the AMPTP, Disney, Netflix, Warner Brothers, Universal, Paramount, on and all the big players, right? A24 is not one of them. So technically speaking, SAG and the writers are not striking against A24, technically. Now, that doesn't mean only those can get it, but there are certain lists of criteria. But here's one of the catches. According to their rules for SAG, if you get this waiver for your project, you have to abide by the latest proposal that SAG made to the AMPTP, which include 19% raises, blah. Right, so these A24 projects can go forward, but you've got to be governed on this project by not the deal SAG has with the AMPTP, but the latest proposal that SAG made to the AMPTP. And we talked about this a bunch on yesterday's show, that the SAG leadership just put out their proposal that they made to the AMPTP. So that's all public. That's the rules they got to govern themselves by. As far as could something like Deadpool or Deadpool 3 get that waiver? I will give you 3 words. 4 words. No chance in hell. There is no chance in hell that SAG is going to be giving a waiver to a project that's either Deadpool 3 or like Deadpool 3. That is one of the major studios projects. That is a major budget thing. Remember, the whole point of a strike is to hurt the other side, to kind of gain leverage and bring things to a conclusion. You're not going, oh, you're making, no. Deadpool 3 is the exact kind of project that SAG wants to shut down. Of course, if I was a member of SAG, that's the type of project I'd be looking to shut down. So yeah, so there are these exceptions they have. They do have rules that they got to follow when they do them, but they do exist. But don't expect it all to see, Paddington, to see Mission Impossible, to see Venom 3, to see Deadpool 3. None of these high profile TV shows and projects or Netflix shows or whatever. Don't expect, I don't know, maybe they could grant a waiver to some tiny, small Netflix show that's a little independently produced. Maybe that's possible. But yeah, don't expect to see any of the big ones. Rob, I mean, it's been 43 years since we've had the last actor strike. So I don't think anybody's got a lot of experience with this. But, as far as your understanding of the waiver goes, what types of projects could we see get this waiver, and how do you think it might be applied?
Well, like you said, first of all, any struck company is off limits. And that's the
AMPTP.
AMPTP, any struck company. I was even looking into getting a waiver for this new project that's totally independently financed. So if it's independently financed, it's outside of that studio ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's understandable because they're not part of what you're striking. And when you're making an independent movie, who knows where it's going to go anyway? I mean, making an independent movie is one of the great acts of, I think, being positive in terms of your outlook on life, because so many independent films go nowhere. But like I said, I think that SAG, by doing something like that, also shows that they really do have good intentions. Because at the end of the day, they don't want to discourage independent filmmakers. They don't want to discourage their whole constituency and membership to just give up on the business.
Right.
And I think that is a show of good faith. I don't know if you'd ever get that from the studios, something along those lines to show good faith towards SAG. And I think it's important because, in a way, you sort of, I don't know, this is kind of a weird thing to say, but you need this kind of beacon of hope that it's another way that SAG is showing that they're behind their membership. Like, we're not here to destroy this business, destroy the craft of acting, or destroy the idea of making films. And here's a way you can all work around that if you can figure out a way to do that. It's the companies and their practices that we're against. And I think it's a great way to plant that flag in the ground and say, we're standing behind real principles that really matter.
It is also a little bit of a way to stick it to the studios. You say, hey,
of course,
while you studios got to sit there on your thumbs, these independent places like A24, they get to make product. And look at them go.
Yeah, the company that won the Academy Award for Best Picture this year is making movies.
Increasing their profile and all that kind of stuff. And like you were saying, it gives some of their actors some work while the strike is going on, some much needed stuff. So, I just said no chance in hell that you're going to see waivers given to, like, say, a big Warner Brothers film, a big Disney film. Do you think there could be an exception to that?
No.
I can't possibly see it.
No, because those companies, they're all guild signatories.
Right.
And so also for smaller companies, they want you to be a guild signatory. And for a company like, A24 already was, but by agreeing to adhere to the demands, they're building. Here's the thing, John, let's say the studios collapsed. You now have an entire ecosystem of independent producers that will rise up in their place and hire SAG actors and abide by SAG rules.
We could call it New Hollywood.
New Hollywood.
Nuevo Wood Holly.
There you go.
All right. With that down, guys, I'm sure we're going to have a lot more strike topics to talk about over the next coming weeks. Anyway, let's get on to this one last thing. You know, you guys will remember that I think it was last week, the Emmy Award nominations came out. And what clearly indicated it was a packed year with some great shows. And whenever major award nominations come out, whether they're Oscars or Emmys, you know, the questions come about were there any snubs in there? Well, maybe there was one regarding House of the Dragon, and that is the topic of this next Mint Mobile hotline question. Check it out.
Hey, John and crew. This is Schaefer from Texas. I've been listening to you guys for a while. Y'all are great. Anyways, my question had to do with the Emmy nominations, and like you said, ultimately it's pretty awesome seeing a lot of genre shows getting recognized, but I did think Paddy Considine was really snubbed. I thought he at least should have been nominated. I remember you guys raving about how great he was in House of the Dragon, and I agree, he was amazing. So I really thought he at least should have been nominated. Let me know your thoughts and if you agree. Thanks.
All right, thanks for calling that in. You know, I think the term snubbed is used way too loosely. I think people use the word, hey, I kind of like that actor in that thing. They got snubbed. I think snubbed is a word that should only be applied in the most serious of circumstances. Here's my personal kind of qualifications for using the word snubbed. I think you should only be able to use the word snubbed about a show, movie, or actor not getting nominated if you legitimately thought they had a chance to win the category. If you think an actor, show, or movie had a legitimate chance to win the category and they didn't even get nominated, I think then you're getting into the territory of maybe where you can use the word snubbed. So I don't like using the word snubbed very often. And I'll tell you, when we were covering the Emmy nomination, and Rob, I think you were here when we were, you were here on here with me when we were covering the Emmy nominations. I don't even think I thought about Paddy Considine. But now that you mention it, there could be a possibility. Now, there's a second criteria. Not only do you have to make an argument that maybe they could even be one of the favorites to win, I think the other criteria here is, well, let's go into this first. So as I go over and look at the categories, the first question becomes, well, would Paddy have fallen under the category of lead actor or supporting actor? Because who knows? But let's look at both. Here's the great list of the best lead actor in a drama series. Jeff Bridges, The Old Man, Brian Cox, Succession, Kieran Culkin for Succession, Bob Odenkirk for Better Call Saul, Pedro Pascal for The Last of Us, Jeremy Strong for Succession. Okay. This brings up the second criteria. First criteria, you could make an argument that maybe they could be one of the front runners. Second criteria is this, is that you've got to be able to fairly easily pick somebody who did get nominated that should not be on that list. Now, the problem here is that nobody on this list wasn't fantastic this year. But how do you justify having three actors from the same show and not have room for Paddy Considine, who just killed it in House of the Dragon? In a show filled with great performances, he shone like the North Star. He was, as we watched his body slowly falling apart like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly, he was outstanding in this. So guess what? I'm going to say in the category of best lead actor, number one, I do think you could make an argument that he maybe could have been one of the front runners to win this. And number two, while I think all the nominees on here are great nominees and deserving, you cannot justify to me three actors from the same show, and there wasn't room for Paddy Considine on here. So I will personally say, under the category of lead actor, yeah, I'll call snub. Well, what about the possibility of supporting actor? Well, and because you could have put him under supporting actor if you wanted to.
I think he should have been.
But we have 8 nominees.
Yeah. 50-50. Take
all of them
flip a
from
coin.
just 2 shows.
Yeah, flip a coin.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Nicholas Braun from Succession, he was really good. He was really good. No fuck chance anywhere on this planet that he should be on that list over a Paddy Considine. No chance. And I say that with all due respect to Nicholas. I'm not saying he wasn't great in the show, but you cannot say that he was anywhere near as good in Succession as Paddy Considine was. All right? Alan Ruck. I love Alan Ruck.
Yeah, you do.
He's great, whether he's the captain of a starship or going around with Ferris Bueller. He's wonderful, and he's really good in the show. No way he deserves a spot on here over Paddy Considine. No way. 8 nominees from 2 shows, and there's no room for Paddy Considine. So again, the 2 criteria. Do I think Paddy could have been one of the front runners to win the category? I do. And do I think there's something that can be bumped off? Listen, when you got 8 nominees and they're just from 2 shows, yes, room should have been made. So you know what? I don't like using the snub term, but I will use it here for both categories. Lead and supporting, 100%. He could have been in either. He could have been a front runner, and he absolutely should have had room made for him on there. So I will go along with you on this. I will call snub. Rob, you look at this, 2 different categories. I guess, first of all, let's evaluate the 2 different categories. And which one would you have put him under if he was going to be in one of the 2? And do you think he got snubbed in one, snubbed in both, snubbed in neither? What do you think?
I definitely think that he's a leading actor because he was a main character on the show from the very beginning. Even your 2 older female leads on House of the Dragon didn't even show up till halfway through the first season.
True, yeah.
So I would say he was definitely a leading man. But I would say this is going to seem a little, I guess, esoteric. But in terms of when you're thinking about these shows, I think the reason you have like 4 actors from Succession for Best Supporting and multiple actors in leading is because when you think of those shows, when you think of Succession's a show that we living today can totally identify with. And all these people and all these actors, they're memeable people, you know, and when you talk about these various characters, it's like people that we know. They're all of today. White Lotus, same thing. But when you think about House of the Dragon, when you look back on it, like we're talking about the king and how memorable that character is. But I think when the voting body of the Emmy Awards look back, they think about House of the Dragon as kind of a show, a thing unto itself without compartmentalizing one performance.
Right.
It's more of the show itself that becomes amazing. And people forget just how good Paddy Considine's acting was. They don't think of him the way they think about a Matthew McFadden, because people know guys like that in their real lives. So they're like, that guy was exactly like somebody I know. Whereas the king wasn't. And I think people literally, unless you mounted an incredible campaign to remind the Academy, like hammer it home hard, people forget how good he was because they don't think of every one of the characters in Succession is a defining character in people's minds. Whereas Paddy Considine, as good as he was, you forget about him looking back at the show because you just think of it holistically as House of the Dragon was great. Because even somebody like Matt Smith, who was great.
Oh, yeah.
No one's talking about Matt Smith.
And none of us would have blinked if he was nominated, right? None of us would have thought that was odd.
There was so many good performances in that show, but looking back, it all becomes you think of House of the Dragon as the show. Mm-hmm. You don't break it up into performances, whereas in Succession, you think of each individual person. Succession's great, but you think of Logan Roy. But the characters come before the title of the show, whereas House of the Dragon, it's the other way around.
The title of the show.
I can't recall. With Emmys, do they also give like best show, not just performance?
Yeah.
So like, why is House of the Dragon at least in the conversation for the best drama?
It is.
It is.
It's
Okay.
nominated for.
So-
Actually, it was a pretty big year for
Then that might go to what Rob's saying.
genre stuff because Andor, House of the Dragon, Last of Us. What was the other one? There was a fourth. That we said fell under the category of sci-fi genre, and I can't remember what it was, but it was a pretty good nomination year for that. So let me put it to you this way: you're a member of the Academy of Television, okay? So you're an Emmy voter body. Do you put Paddy on the nomination list? And if so, which one of the actors? Because you've already said you'd put him under lead actor, right?
I'd put him under lead actor.
Who would you put him on the list? And if so, who would you drop to make room for him?
Well, I would say that, I mean, I don't know, because they're all great actors. Probably somebody from The White Lotus, but
there's nobody nominated from The White Lotus for
Oh,
best. So
best-
can you bring up
Yes, for
the
best.
list here,
Yeah,
John?
yeah, yeah.
Bring
Best
up the list here.
So
So there's
out,
there's
well, see,
your
this
leads.
is. I mean, you've got Brian Cox, Kieran Culkin, and Jeremy Strong.
Yeah.
I would
all
say-
from one show.
I would say Brian Cox was only in 3 episodes in this season.
100%.
He's out.
Yeah.
He's already won for this show.
So Paddy goes in.
So Paddy goes in where he goes.
And it becomes a real strong, like, dead heat on that race then with Paddy in there.
And I would say that Kieran Culkin delivered better work than Jeremy Strong. I mean, it's
Yeah.
odd to me.
I think it really was his season. I think it was really I
It
think
was
this
Kieran
was his year.
Culkin's
Yeah.
season by far. Not that Jeremy Strong wasn't great, but Jeremy Strong was kind of much more one note. Kieran Culkin was running the gamut. That guy from episode to episode, the level of emotion that he had to show. And I would say it's weird to me that 3 actors because it doesn't seem really. How does that even work?
Yeah, I mean,
I would get rid of Brian Cox as much as he's great as Logan Roy. 3 episodes, was he a leading actor? I mean, billing wise, yes, but in the season of Succession, was he leading?
Yeah, was he the
Yeah,
definitive lead
He was
character?
supporting.
He wasn't. Yeah.
Just by definition of how many
That's a good
episodes there
point.
are.
And how do you have 3 leads? That would be supporting, not leads. If you're already putting 3 from the same show.
Right.
Yeah. That's
I
a
mean,
good point.
so yeah. Anyway, guys, how do you see it? Let us know what you think. But listen, I don't like using. You guys know, whenever I hear the word snubbed, I kind of back off from it. I don't like using the term, but in this situation, I will agree. I think this was a snub.
And can someone explain to me the love for White Lotus? Like, I haven't figured it out.
I don't actually get it either. I know my wife really likes it, but I tried White Lotus. I don't see, and Aaron loved it. Like, Aaron loved White Lotus. It just didn't click for me.
I didn't think the second season was as good as the first either.
And I didn't like the first, so.
So there you go. All right, guys, listen. It's time for us to move on and start taking questions from our YouTube channel members. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the other sponsors of our show. People gave me my pants. The good folks over at Birddogs. We want to take a second and thank the sponsor of this video, Birddogs. You know, as a guy, there's only 2 things that are important to me when it comes to fashion: looking good, and even more importantly, being comfortable. And that's where our sponsors, Birddogs, come to the rescue. Offering everything from pants like stretch khakis, joggers, and sweatpants, to shorts like gym shorts and swimsuits, and even great looking and comfortable polo shirts. Birddogs, like their stretch khaki shorts, are designed to fit slimmer through the thighs and legs, giving you a truly sculpted look. Birddogs shorts fit way better than regular shorts that are made of a stiff, restricting cotton. You see, Birddogs fixed this issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. And that's just one of the reasons that by wearing Birddogs, you're gonna look good and, more importantly, feel good. So guys, go to birddogs.com/Campea for a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/Campea for a free Yeti-style tumbler. Use code Campea. You won't want to take your Birddogs off. We promise you. And thank you to our friends at Birddogs for sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get over to questions from our YouTube channel members, shall we? Jonathan, what do we got up here first?
All right. Dr. Stinky writes, has a trailer ever made you feel something so special it made you tear up? Well, there are a lot of trailers that have made me feel something, but the creator is the first to make me tear up. I've yet to see the creator trailer.
You know, Rob, you were at the CinemaCon with us too when they played the creative. I got to admit, I didn't have this. Like, I thought it was a good trailer. I didn't have the reaction to it that the rest of you guys had. Like, even Ray, I didn't have any kind of an emotional response to it. Did you?
Not well. Just that it looked damn good.
It did look good.
The new trailer, however, the new trailer that just dropped, I didn't cry, but it definitely moved the needle. I mean, how can you, even though it's a robot kid, you know, the kid's like, we're not going to heaven.
Oh,
I'm just like, whoa, dude. I can't wait to see this movie.
You know what trailer that made me tear up was the Christopher Robin's one with the Winnie the Pooh, because
the
it brought
one with
back-
Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, it was just so. I don't know how the movie turned out, but
I thought you were going to say Pooh, Blood, and Honey.
That's a different crap.
That would have been Taylor. Yeah, that made him tear up. All right, what's next?
All right. CJ Rebirth writes, there have been 2 occasions the past couple months where I saw a movie at a Regal theater and there were no trailers at all in between their welcome and unlimited ad. It's interesting.
So I guess my question would be: Were those special fan event like the Barbie screening we're seeing tonight is a special fan event screening? So there may or may not be trailers with that.
Yeah.
That could explain it, or maybe just Regal's awesome. Well, no, look, I like trailers. I just don't like 9 trailers before a movie starts. That's it. But that sounds pretty cool.
Because I know that I know the like Investor Connect screenings at like AMC. There's no trailer.
That's true too, right? That's where we saw Moon, or what was it called again? Moonfall. We saw Moonfall at one of those Investor Connect screenings, right?
Yeah, I saw Air and Sisu through that.
Come to think of it, they didn't play any trailers when we watched Top Gun Maverick in 4DX.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right. What's next?
CJ Rebirth again. So excited to spend the night before my birthday tomorrow watching an early screening of Barbie at a Regal theater. Oh, he's really pushing the Regal here. I'm really looking forward to seeing America Ferrera in particular.
You know what? I should mention, every time I mention Barbie at CinemaCon, I mention that Ryan Gosling came out. I mentioned that Margot Robbie came out and Greta Gerwig. America Ferrera was also one of the people who came out. She's delightful.
She is. She's
delightful.
I never watched her big show, Jane the Virgin, I think it was called. I never did see the show, but I saw her pop up then in movies and things like that. I really started to like her a lot.
Wasn't she in that supermarket, Walmart show too?
Oh, I never watched that show either.
Superstore. Wasn't she in that too?
Yeah, I think she was.
That's where I saw her.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I never watched that show either. All right, what's next?
That market's gone. It's all new, big, facilities for Universal.
Yeah.
Yulitan writes, fun fact, Charlene Woodward, the actress who plays Nick Fury's wife in Secret Invasion, also played Samuel L. Jackson's mother in Unbreakable. Interesting.
Is that true?
Wow.
Obviously not Samuel L. Jackson because it was played by a little boy in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's actually pretty funny, that connection.
So does that mean that she was a Skrull in Unbreakable?
Yep.
Ooh, deep thoughts now.
She was actually pushing him to go out
Deep
there and
thoughts.
Yeah.
That's actually a really cool factoid to know.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Dad jokes. Hi, John. I was thinking the other day what specific acting performance was the best when it came to weeping. I'm trying to think of one and honestly can't think of one weeping performance that was truly convincing. Do you have any?
Yep. Greatest weeping scene. At least, look, the one that hit me the hardest.
No, I know this one.
No, you don't.
Oh.
You don't. You don't
Yeah,
know what
Ray,
I'm going to say.
It's not Tommy, your brother.
No.
Oh, no.
Although that's good too. But no, the greatest one ever, in all honesty. I've talked about this movie before. A lot of people don't remember it. It was a David Duchovny Minnie Driver movie called Return to Me.
I'm sorry.
It's called Return to Me. The basic gist of the movie is it's a rom-com in its definition. It's a very special movie though. The basic idea is David Duchovny was a married guy whose wife died, and she was an organ donor. Minnie Driver is the person who was the recipient and got a life-saving heart transplant. And later on, not knowing who each other really are, they meet and they fall in love, right? Anyway, in the first act of the movie, David Duchovny comes home after he and his wife got in a car accident and at the hospital and find out that his wife died. And they have a pet dog. And David Duchovny comes home from the hospital, still blood on his shirt. And their dog is still looking at the door, waiting for his wife to come through the door too. And David Duchovny, in the best acting I've ever seen him do, crumbles to the floor and just starts weeping. I'm getting emotional thinking about it. It was one of the most, no, I'll say it's the most powerful weeping, crying scene I'd ever seen. It really hit me because they did a really good job in this, just the first 5 minutes of the movie setting up how in love this couple was. And with their dog, they had this great life. And then he comes home and just breaks down and cries. I tell you what, man, it really moved me. You got a scene in a movie that really stands out to you with like a powerful weeping scene?
This is the first thing that came to mind. Officer and a Gentleman. When Richard Gere,
That's not bad.
Nowhere else to go.
That's a good one, actually.
Because he starts out and he really breaks down. He's trying to be this stoic, strong guy. And it gets maybe a little over the top, but I always think about that as a guy who just totally loses it and he just breaks down. It might be I wouldn't know if it's weeping or really just crying.
I'd say it's a
good scene though. That was the first thing I thought of when you read the question.
I love that. All right, what's next?
Jack Master Nord. Speaking of MCU, couldn't they just recast majors like they did with Ed Norton and Terrence Howard?
Yeah, they can, but they don't want to do that if they don't have to. Look, here's the reality. This, for a lot of people, this is a political issue, not a HR issue, unfortunately, amongst the fandom. So, and Marvel knows this. So Marvel's in this situation that is not their fault, but they've got to figure out, okay, are we going to get in more trouble with our audience if we stick with them? Or are we going to get in more trouble with our audience if we don't stick with them?
Yeah.
And that sucks. Listen, honestly, for Marvel, this is a no-win situation. No matter which way Marvel goes, they're going to get shit from somebody. Like, unless video footage comes out that clearly shows that Jonathan Majors was in Tahiti that night, or video footage comes out that clearly shows him punching people in the face, whatever Marvel does here, they're going to get crapped on. They're going to get crapped on. They're going to get yelled at by people. How dare you keep him? How dare you not keep him? It's a no-win situation for them. So yes, they're still waiting to see how this trial unfolds. But if it comes to it, yes, they can just recast him, or they may decide it would be less of a PR nightmare just to take the character out of the movie and say, hey, no, we didn't drop Jonathan Majors. We got rid of the character. We didn't need the character anymore. I mean, I don't know. I don't see a way they win this, but yes, that will be an option for them, and we'll see if they take it or not. All right, what's next?
Red One Real Talks writes, I just learned that Jackie Chan is voicing Master Splinter in the new TMNT movie, which reminded me of his other iconic voice acting work in the animated Jackie Chan series. Did you ever watch this? It was a regular staple in my Saturday morning cartoons.
I never did watch it or the Mr. T one, or...
Neither did I.
Wasn't he one of the voices in Kung Fu Panda? He was one of the Furious Five, wasn't he?
I think so.
I think he was. But I don't know. It'll be fun to see it. Ray, I know you're super excited about this. Everything it has to do with this Turtles movie.
Oh yeah, man. This is gonna.
You would know it by
cool.
looking at him.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. Kayak writes, hi guys, I wonder if SAG strike indirectly weakens WGA's position even more. I imagine that once strike is done, actors will get back to work on projects that are now delayed and need the fresh scripts from writers will come even later in time, or there is no such correlation.
You know, I put up an editorial video yesterday about why the Screen Actors strike will end way before the Writers Guild strike. And one of the things that I pointed out, Rob, I want to know what you think about this, is that Ray, do you have that image?
Of what?
The one I had you make yesterday for that editorial?
I didn't.
I can't remember. Maybe see if you can give that over to Jonathan. But basically what I said was that the day that the Writers Guild went on strike, crickets. Nobody cared. Nothing happened. You know why nothing happened? Because even though the Writers Guild went on strike, movie announcements still came out. Ladies and gentlemen, David Cornsweet is our new Superman. Rachel Brosnahan is our new Lois. New movies got announced. Projects were still shooting. Newest set photos from Deadpool 3. Nothing.
Yeah.
You didn't hear anything. The writers went on strike. Okay, big deal. Nobody felt anything. There wasn't even a single bump in the road. The moment the actors went on strike, record scratch. Everything came to a crashing halt. Deadpool's no longer in production. Venom's no longer in production. Mission Impossible no longer in production. Everything shuts down. The business came to a screeching halt. The studios know they can go a while without really feeling the effects of the writers going on strike. But the second the actors went on strike, the freaking actors walked out of the Oppenheimer premiere. And I don't fault them for that, by the way. I don't fault them for that. They're on strike. They're not supposed to be promoting a studio movie. But the second, this is the graphic Ray made for me. Like, when the Writers Guild went on strike, nobody paid attention. Nobody noticed. And it's true. The second the actors go on strike, boom. So, yeah, I don't think, listen, the studios aren't even talking to the writers right now, Rob.
They haven't at all.
And they're not even going to think about it until long after until the actors strike. As long as the actors are on strike, that's the studio's priority. They're going to try to get that fixed. Then maybe they'll talk to the writers.
If in the stipulation of like the WGA's charter, you can't even read from our scripts if we're on strike, it would have had the same effect as an actor strike.
Right.
Because suddenly no one can read or do anything with that script. But they don't have that.
Yeah, but the thing is, movies and TV shows are already in production. They've got in their closets, they got stacks of already finished scripts. Again, eventually the studios are going to feel the pinch of the writers being on strike.
Yeah.
But they ain't going to feel it today, and they're not going to feel it next week. But with the actors, totally different story. That's why, just while we were at commercial break, Rob and I were talking, I think you're going to see the actors get back to work sooner rather than later, because the studios have to get them back to work. With the writers, they got more flexibility and leverage. All right, what's next?
Alan writes, Happy Wednesday. I finished my rewatch of Schitt's Creek, and I think I love the show more than the first time. One of my favorite things I heard from Dan Levy was the show brought his father, sister, and him closer together. Mm-hmm. John and Ray, do you feel like you have experience working together? Well, they're definitely closer together.
We're very closer together.
Yeah. No.
Nah. Okay.
No, it's great. It is good.
Did you hear me, Rob?
Everybody has a hard time getting Ray out of the house. So I don't know that I'd ever see him if he didn't work here. I really do enjoy. First of all, you got to understand, Ray does not work here because he's my brother-in-law. Well, maybe from his perspective, he only works here because I'm his brother-in-law. But I mean, Ray is so good at his job. And like many times, I don't know what I would do without him. He just helps make, I honestly don't know. And it's not his on-camera talents, it's his off-camera talents. So like everything he does to make everything around here run and operate, in the hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours every single day that he puts in.
And the barbecue, baby.
And he does my barbecue. That's very important. But also, I come in early. He's always here. He's always the first one here.
I made pizza.
That's right. Came in. I had pizza sitting there waiting for me. Got to have that.
Ninja Turtle pizza, Rob.
Wow.
It is literally Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pizza.
You ain't never seen no pizza like that.
I have not.
I don't think you're impressed.
But guys, listen. If you have
be.
not watched Schitt's Creek, it's on Netflix.
I have not.
You haven't?
I'm going to.
I honestly, I'd say it's a top 6, 7, or 8 greatest show ever made.
Yeah.
I really think
I just
that.
love the name.
Well, I mean, the name is great, but by the time you get to the series finale, it is just such a heartwarming, enjoyable, funny ride you've gone on. And it's, again, there's no villains in the show. It's a movie about good people, flawed people, doing good things and trying to become better people. It's just wonderful.
Am I close to the end? Because I'm in the season where the
You're
mom
so close
is
to the end, right?
dressing in all in black.
Where she's in the croning?
Yeah.
You're getting close.
Oh,
You're getting
okay.
close.
So far.
Yeah. By the way, one of the greatest things this past Halloween, I went out and I saw this group of guys dressed as her in the croning. It was one of the best cosplays I've ever seen. All right. We got time for a couple more. What's
All right.
next?
Dr. Stinky writes, I see Barbenheimer tomorrow. And if you did not know, if you look up Barbie on Google, you get a pink screen with pink bubble-like animations. Oh, that's cool. Of an pink Google logo. Great.
All right.
Marketing.
Go to my screen.
Uh-huh.
Let's see here.
Let's test out this.
Let's test it out
Let's
here.
see if Dr. Stinky's a liar.
Barbie.
No, you'll be banned forever.
Ooh.
Hey.
Hey, look at
Technology.
that.
That's wicked type.
Rose-tinted glasses here. Look at that.
And then you got some indicators in the bottom that take you someplace.
What about
Oh, yeah.
Oppenheimer? Does it do explosion?
I'm scared. I want to click on something and like go to a porn site or something. Okay, what happens if I hit that button? Oh,
there
it
you go.
just
It
gives me
brings it
more
back.
stuff. Okay.
So what if you hit Oppenheimer? Does it do anything?
Yeah.
Actually, that's a
Crashes
good
your
question.
computer.
I wonder if they celebrate a bomb.
A big bomb. Let's see here.
Nothing.
Nope.
Nothing.
No, Oppenheimer,
Google loves
losers.
Barbie.
All right, what's next?
All right. A. Heron Epstein, I think. Hey, John and crew, Secret Invasion is fine, I guess, but doesn't Fury have resources and manpower from Sword and Saber? Still feels like he's giving bad excuses on why he can't ask for help. This world-ending threat. Maybe they didn't have the budget for more.
Let me say this without going into too much detail about
Tell us how it ends.
the about Secret Invasion. Is this years ago? One of my big problems with shared cinematic universe stuff, and this is going back to AMC days when I would talk about this. One of my big problems with shared cinematic universe stuff is that everybody's always crying for every superhero in the universe to show up in every movie. Why didn't Thor come help? Why didn't this guy show up? Why didn't that guy show up? Because it's not a Thor story. It's not a Thor. And you know what? For a series that is supposed to be a Nick Fury series, why do we want all the other superheroes to show up? And honestly, the way they've structured the show for now, I think the reasons they've given have actually been pretty palatable reasons about why Nick Fury has not brought in, hasn't tried to go and find Doctor Strange or hasn't tried to go and find Yelena or whatever, what have you, right? I think it's actually felt pretty consistent with what the show is. Rob and I were just talking about this before we started the show. I'm enjoying Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
It's not WandaVision. It's not Ms. Marvel. It's not, I wouldn't say it's great, but I've been enjoying it, Rob, especially considering I've been so disappointed by so many of the Disney Plus Marvel shows, whether it's She-Hulk, and I didn't hate Moon Knight. There's some episodes I love, but overall I felt a little underwhelmed by it. I felt underwhelmed by a couple of their projects. It's like in the check mark or X, I'd say Secret Invasion falls under the check mark list. I don't know, how have you felt about this?
Look, I agree with you. I mean, I've said that I like the show. I don't love it because I think it's kind of one note tonally.
100%.
But this is a show, this is Nick Fury's problem. He started it 25 years previous. He came back to Earth because it's his responsibility. He feels very personal about it. Like he can't afford to bring, what if someone else got killed? I don't think he can. He flat out said it in the last episode. He's like, "Look,
well, let's be careful about what he said."
Right. Well,
when you say last episode, you mean last week's or last?
No,
night's?
I meant last night's episode. I mean, he answers that question. The question is put to him, and he answers it. And I think it's because he feels very personal. This is his problem. It's his mess to clean up. It's a sequel to what we saw in Captain Marvel when the Skrulls came to Earth, and he was helping the Skrulls. And now it's 25 years later, and he didn't live up to what he said he was going to do. And now he has to. He has to make it right. And that's, if this were a gunfighter, I don't think anyone would ask that question. If it was the Old West, it was one guy having to go fix a problem that he started. He caused it. And I think that that's what he's trying to do. It's a personal Nick Fury story.
And remember, I like the way you put that. If he was a gunfighter, blah. What did Tony Stark say about Nick Fury in the first Avengers movies? He's a man whose secrets have secrets. And that's what this show's built around. This guy who's got, and in this last episode, you find out one of the more doozy secrets that he's kept. And it's a Nick Fury thing. So I don't know. We'll see. All right. We got time for one more question. What's our last one today?
Okay, let's go with King Daddy Goat. Hey crew, I hope all is well today. I recently have been seeing Kevin Smith keep teasing the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. Do you think we will get a special release of this either? Or I'm always okay with more Batman content. Thanks. Bring on the filthy.
I don't know what the Schumacher.
Like Schumacher's gonna do a director's cut of
There is a longer version of the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever that Kevin Smith actually showed.
Do we need more of it?
At his theater?
Really?
Yeah, I think he's
didn't hear
probably
about
got a
that.
VHS copy of it. There's other people. Akiva Goldsman weighed in, and he's seen the cut because he worked on the few wrote the film. And apparently it's better. It's darker.
I don't know how it could be worse.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't know if it'll ever get finished. It's an unfinished version. But, here's the thing that bothers me about this. There's different cuts of every movie.
Yeah.
Movies are a very iterative process. And as you're cutting them, they get cut down and cut down and cut down to get to the place where they're the best length for commercial consideration. And of course, there's longer versions of every movie. There's a 3.5-hour version of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning that we heard about,
right,
that they had to cut down. Now, would that have made the movie better? Probably not, because it would have been 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
So the Schumacher...
It's pretty damn good the way it was.
Yeah, and the Schumacher cut could have been... It was an earlier cut of the movie, but it wasn't a finished cut of the movie. So...
All right. And guys... That'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for joining us and making this little show and podcast a part of your day. Big special thank you to our YouTube channel members. Number one, because you gave us some things to talk about, but also by being channel members, you support our channel. So thank you guys so much. for that support. Hey guys, want to let you know, now since we got Robert Meyer Burnett sitting in the room, the newest episode of Designing Hollywood is up on the channel right now. And speaking of Mission Impossible, you just interviewed the costume designer of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning.
It's a great interview. It's one of the longest I did because we had an incredible conversation fresh in her mind with Jill Taylor. What a kick in the pants. I mean, she started out working for the BBC on Doctor Who. So but long ago,
right?
It's a great interview. She's just a wonderful person, and she has a lot of insight into the making of the film. And it's great to be able to get an interview like that in basically the week it came out. So.
Hey, listen, if you guys are getting this show on the YouTube channel, the best experience, the best way to experience the John Campea Show podcast is in podcast format. Go and find the John Campea Show podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever your favorite podcasting app of choice is. So if you like watching it on YouTube, hey, maybe you'll be in the car driving, maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're at work. Go and subscribe to the podcast so it'll be there when you need it. All right, big thanks to everybody in the room with us. Ray Ora, Jonathan Boyko from Robservations. Go and find it on YouTube. Robert Meyer Burnett. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.